things are going to go only one way from this point on. And I've got to say, it's very, very hard to perform at this level under pressure. But EXO free agents are doing it.
Yeah, they're doing a great job. I mean, you know, standing up against Clash, the favorites coming into those monthly finals. That's quite a challenge, man. That's quite a challenge. And with the fight that EXO are pulling through, it's impressive. It's absolutely impressive. Is it gonna be enough, though, to see a fifth and final set? This game is the decider, and we have a bit of a trade on the right-hand side already.
Here with an early gadget pop to get the slowdown on Wiley there, and Josh is there for support. Wiley should survive this, providing he doesn't take a shot from Lanan. And Lanan doesn't hesitate to get that shot on point. An interesting comp change has got to be said from AC Milan Clash, wanting to use range more at their disposal, and Yoshi therefore going in to get that absolute value both on the safe and on Lanan, and he misses the shot coming back as well. Yoshi playing beautifully for me right now from EXO free agents.
Yeah, Yoshi is absolutely man of the match so far. At least on the EXO side of things, he's been so impactful. Can it turn things around in this game? They do have that early lead. Gabe with the jump in, finds a kill. The second one comes through, but can they stop that attack? Luna kind of struggling on that pipe roll, though he does find a nice double kill now. This might be the opening that they need, especially if he can open up that middle furthermore. This could be a great situation going for Clash.
I've got to say, though, I think Lene might struggle if Curse puts down the super here. If they don't shut this down, yeah, Lene has to break the mid, actually, to give himself a bit more room for maneuverability here. But at 100 HP, and shooting those portals is going to prevent him healing in that respect. And then Curse comes for the pickup. Absolutely textbook from EXO free agents, and what a start at this pinnacle moment in time to be on the match point for the second time today, and yet still come out the gates with some fight. This is honestly fantastic from them. I've got to say, I would be scared if I was Clash right now.
And the level of energy that EXO are bringing into this match, it's so impressive. They take this set home. We are moving on to our fifth and final set. What a comeback so far from EXO free agents. How do they still have some stamina coming into this fifth set, man? They've beat down match point 4 games already. They've won every single one of them. What an impressive performance from EXO.
You know, some teams just perform well under these circumstances. It really is kind of like a sink or swim scenario to find yourselves in. And, you know, last month for EXO free agents, it was a sink. They did concede a sweep to Clash, but this month they are swimming. They've got their life jackets all fully buckled up, and they are absolutely coming out swinging. What a place to find themselves in going to the fifth and final set, having that you know, in the back of their minds that they've been able to continue to hold firm. Surely that's got to count for something going to these final games.
Yeah, I mean, man, the dream is definitely up right now for EXO free agents. This is gonna be their chance to close things out in this fifth and final set. AC Milan Clash, they had so much room to work with, and it wasn't enough. Coming in a fifth set, I feel like EXO might actually kind of be in an advantageous position now.
So much damage on that save from Yoshi, and you know, that's over double from iChaos. The cracks potentially starting to show for AC Milan Clash, but they can still turn this around. There's still plenty of time to do that. 42% damage for Yoshi as well. My word, what an MVP he is turning out to be today.
Yeah, I think he's the player that surprised me the most today. He's extremely talented. I'm aware of that. But today, man, he's been performing out of his mind and showing really like the kind of potential he can bring to EXO.
Okay, well, let's check out what the final map and mode is going to be for today to see whether Yoshi can continue to perform just as well as he has been all day. Super Stadium and Brawl Ball is going to be the game mode then. So I've got to say, you know, it is one that Clash play really, really well, as do EXO free agents. I think we're going to see some potentially quick rounds, some fast plays. Again, the bands being Jesse, Stu, Byron, and Ruffs here. So, you know, the one that strikes out for me there is Max. So one brawler which Clash really enjoy playing and gives so much maneuverability on a map like Super Stadium.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, in the past, we've seen this ability to really control the pace for Clash, using Max to switch it up, having IKEOS on maybe on the Sprout to slow it down. Those are things I'll be looking forward to in this game. I think Sandy is also a really viable brawler on the lanes. You can think about a lot of stuff on lane, to be honest. Mr. P has been so good on every single map that I'm pretty much expecting some more Mr. P here too.
Yeah, by far one of the strongest brawlers in the meta right now, and kind of interesting we haven't seen so much of Amber today, but that is another one that is going to be potentially an option here, as well as things like BB, a lot of double heal, Pam, and Poco comps we've seen recently. Poco wouldn't be a bad one here to combine with BB, maybe not Pam so much unless you're breaking up the map as an option. We are going to see, however, Gia going with Barley, as is Whitey, and that is a great controlling brawler to have. Curse bringing out Ems, and we have seen already Ems doing great things on Brawl today and already putting it to great effect there.
Yeah, really strong push, and I don't think that Clash can stop this one. That's going to be a goal here for XO3 Agent at what is Clash's best game mode, or one of their best game modes. Extremely impressive, man. XO, they are not done with surprising us tonight as they take the lead. Clash, what is going to be their reaction?
I think they've got to start to continue this pressure. If IKEOS can get a bear at this point in time and just kind of put it right into the back corner to give a bit of an issue to Curse, or close the gap at least so that his range doesn't come into play, but a bit of an opening now. But I think Curse is going to be able to push. He's going to try for it past the Whitey, but maybe a lack of communication there to pick it up. Either way, though, Whitey being able to have superheroes is a great asset to XO3 Agents and just places it down there nicely to exert some pressure.
Yeah, nice kill from IKEOS. Oh, that shot was close. Curse does manage to catch it. The pass comes through. That should be a goal. AC Milan Clash tying things up. They are not done fighting despite the massive comeback that XO have taken up so far. 55 seconds left here with one goal on each side. One goal here would put either team on match point, Ark.
It makes me worried a little bit for XO3 Agents in this scenario, because honestly, if this goes to overtime, Lenan is going to be in a position to pop off. They want to get this wrapped up quickly in the next few seconds, or at least be in a really strong arm position going into overtime to score a quick goal, because B will come into her elements going into overtime. And I do worry with the ranges of the brawlers that XO3 Agents have gone for, whether they can stand the fight of that.
Oh, good shot from the Knockers, hesitating a bit and moved backwards. That cost him his life. 15 seconds away from overtime, and it seems like Clash have a bit of a better positioning to go for an offense here as we get into overtime in a couple of seconds, Ark.
Yeah, Clash doing well to stand the heat at the moment, but you know, XO3 Agents are healing up nicely. Gears very low there, has to be very cautious. I imagine running extra Noxus as they receive the buff here, so not able to continue the pressure and heal at the same time here. Going on to Whitey now with forcing out a few shots, but Whitey with a return at the same time here. Lenan has super as well, so if he connects with that, the slowdown will be very, very difficult for XO3 Agents to come back from. They are dodging and juking really well. At the moment, it is anyone's game still.
Yeah, the range between Amber and B is not that different, to be honest. A bit of an advantage for Lenan. The problem is that Lenan, if after his shot Yoshi pushes forward, he can get so many tags, and then with a charged shot, can he find some value? He needs it here. Can Clash open things up? They are the team on the offensive now. Lenan takes quite a lot of damage. He has to be careful as Curse pushes up, does get taken out. Bear now from IKEOS on the right-hand side. Yoshi is going to try to corner up that ball, but Gia should be able to pass it to Chaos. That's going to be a goal. Clash on their 5th match point here. We've seen it happening. Ark XO, they have clutched up every single time that Clash had a match point. Is this time going to be where XO breaks? Can Clash close it out, or are we moving on to double match points?
They started so strongly there. I've got to question maybe the direction that Yoshi supered the ball there. I don't know whether going backwards is the right move for me. I think going away and trying to find a gap going up the map would have maybe wasted a bit more Clash's time. I think there was an opening there to get a bit more length on that. But Curse did have gadgets, so that was a potential opportunity there to stop it. I just felt like at the moment there, you know, Curse was very aggressive and it would have paid off. I think there's a good opportunity to do it. It was a calculated choice, but going down there, leaving the teammates as well to sort of have to bear the runt of that push, quite challenging. But like you say, right, it's not like XOFA have not been here in this position today already. I mean, they perform so well under pressure, but Brawl is a game where things can turn very, very quickly, and that worries me a little bit in that respect.
Yeah, I think they have changed things being in this really, really tough position, EXO. This is their chance to do it all the way up. It all comes down to this final set, and so far Clash have the lead, but they've had the early lead in every single set. XO need to come back now, and they need to close out that journey that they started off earlier. I mean, man, the nerves are going to be at its highest. If they did all this comeback for nothing, it would be quite heartbreaking on their side. But on the other hand, they had to try for it, and they can still do it all the way until the end.
Yeah, I mean, Clash are playing super, super well. I mean, look at the percentage of damage there from IKS, continuous from what he was demonstrating earlier today. Again, he's at the top of his game right now, as are all of these players. And, it's not an easy feat. It might look like it, but I can assure you many, many teams have come and failed against both of these teams in far quicker succession than we are seeing them carry out right now. So at the moment, to be on match point against Clash and survive this long, free agents for me, regardless of the outcome right now, can absolutely hold their head high.
Yeah, I think they can be absolutely proud of their performance. Likewise for Clash, as a nice double kill from Lena is going to be opening things up. But YD comes on top of that fight against Guy, and that means that Clash are not really able to get anything out of that trade.
White needs to buy his time in this position. Is a very good spot for him to be in. Guy coming back into the mix is going to cause a bit of pressure there, and good shots from Whitey. Super to hand, look at this pressure on the right hand side. Now with a shot, Curse gets it off the line. To Yoshi, a bit of a back and forth there. I'm not sure that they quite meant to. A bit of blustering and a bit of panic perhaps, maybe. But IKEOS is still going. He has Bear. A great chance for Clash to capitalize right now with only Whitey left to defend. This is disastrous start for EXO free agents right now.
Yeah, they are cornered in their goal. Curse going to try to get the ball out of there, but he's down to 500 HP. Guy going on the hunt, might end up going down actually. Curse surviving is 125 HP gadget from Lena to slow him down and catch that kill. It is so close here for EXO, and the slightest slip up and that might be a goal for Clash.
See what happens here. At the moment, it's a great spot for Yoshi if he can just kind of keep this pressure. He needs to get down the honey molasses there. He's got to get that out of the mix. Actually, Whitey will come in to do it for him. That's nicely done. I think it's a good idea for Yoshi to go back onto Chaos or maybe Curse, but at the moment, the map is the problem for both Yoshi and Curse against like Chaos, which is why he's getting so much value until overtime hits. But I don't know whether I like the chances going into overtime yet again, because again, Lenan playing B is actually a prominent brawler. They need to really get some Barley supers into the mix and start to shut off some of this map. 20 seconds left, and then all these covers will be down, and Lenan will be able to do his thing.
Yeah, EXO, they need to find some sort of a push here. They need to get some more control before overtime comes in, otherwise it's going to be over. This is looking very bad for EXO, very good for Clash as they take down two players. Only YD left alive. Guy was the fast to Lena. The charge shot gets caught by Yoshi once again, passing it back to Lena. Oh my god!
My goodness me, Yoshi did so well there. The reason why he kept passing the ball away is because obviously with Amber you're holding down your thumb, but to save it off the line like he did under that much pressure, match point on Clash's side there. My goodness me, EXO Frisians are doing fantastically well, but the pressure is still on.
Oh my god, dude. How did EXO free agents stop that push? We do have a final chance here for Clash to try to turn this overtime into a win, as IKEOS wants to go for that ball, but as Lena falls to Yoshi, that's going to be opening things up a bit for EXO. Do they have time to go for a push the pass from Curse? Doesn't really find a connection just yet. YD to Yoshi. Yoshi with a charge shot. It does get caught by Lena, and we have a draw, but what an insane game here, Ark.
It was a challenging shot for Lena to hit, in all fairness to him. I mean, under that kind of circumstance, you kind of want to sink it, but I mean, Yoshi did so well on that goal line to keep everything in the mix, but Clash keep chipping away at the strength and the might of XO Free Agents. I've got to say, their resilience right now, it seems to continue on. This is the moment here. The pass by Chaos was good. The Nan tried to find the angle, and in fairness, Yoshi couldn't really even see the ball. Curse was intentionally trying to, get a ton of damage in the mix. I mean, it doesn't really get closer than that.
Yeah, it feels like, maybe a bit of nerves, a bit of miscommunication towards the end on that push from Clash. They had very much control of everything there. That should have been a goal 9 times out of 10, but this is the one time where EXO could actually defend that. Look at his gear, finding 7 kills on that Barley. That is a lot of impact for Barley. On a Barley, it's not that easy to finish off Brawlers because you can't really chase them that much. That super helps out tremendously, though. And I don't know, I feel like Clash, they play much better in this game. But EXO, being able to shut them down and kind of stop that momentum could kind of go in their advantage as well. I mean, it's do or die for EXO, and we're in our 6th match point for Clash. We might go all the way up to 7. That's something I've almost never seen before, man.
It's like unheard of, right? To go on this long. I had to double check to make sure we were still on the first game of the semifinals for a minute there, because they're getting some serious airtime out of today, and I love to see it, as I'm sure everyone at home does also. What an exciting time to witness these teams going up against the might of each other, but to remind ourselves, Clash are still on match point. XO Free Agents are still holding on. But I don't know. This one's so close to call. You really just have no idea what to expect. I think that it's going to come down to the team that make a surprise pick potentially, and really go to town with something aggressive, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so as well. That would be a nice way to open things up. Obviously, after a draw, they are going to be playing the same Brawlers, Star Powers, Gadget, all that stuff we guys are used to now. So, yeah, I feel like comp-wise, it's very even, man. It's very even. Oh, never mind. It seems like they can change Brawlers after a draw now.
Frank is a solid option for me. I mean, Guille can absolutely... We've seen last year him go to town with Frank giving us a little spin. I like this strategy. I kind of feel like this could be exactly what Clash needed to put this over the line. Chaos coming with a nice solid pinch. Luckily, Whitey was expecting something along these lines with the sticky syrup mix, but Guille, unattended, can possibly get a chance. My word, Yoshi coming in with the wall just for good measure. He is performing so well today, that boy.
And Yoshi is honestly one of the most underrated players right now. He is playing out of this mind in this match, in this previous match in the quarterfinals as well. What a role there as well. But is it going to be enough to stop that goal? The pass on the right side, that might be just what it does it. But Guille is just too tanky.
Wow. I mean, Whitey threw absolutely everything at that, but with the help of Lanao for that hill, there was no stopping gear, and this is what I was saying. Having something like this is exactly what Clash needs. Yoshi with a little snatch, trying to find a little bit of a moment to the left-hand side, but Chaos coming in with all that might and tankiness of the batting style star power, moving in close now. Whitey's going to have to be forced to finish. He does so with Curse. A chance still there, but EXO brings to fight back.
Yeah, maybe a bit of a push coming in from EXO. Now Guille taking a lot of damage from afar as his teammate Lena not really able to heal him up. Yoshi picks up that kill. Chaos going in aggressively, goes down to YDE, and YDE on that Barley has been such a threat so far. The wall there to block off rotations a little bit from Yoshi as Guille pushes up. He's looking for that Barley, but he can't quite get the finish just yet.
Yeah, Guille's able to survive so long here. I think pocketing the ball is actually a really smart idea from Clash, but Whitey's going to try to make the snatch. Lenan going to stop him trying to heal to get the pass out to Yoshi. If he gets the pass off here, it could be a chance. He has to hesitate. He was under so much pressure to do so. Now Yoshi places another wall, but that is going to deter XO Free Agents from being able to get to that ball. He's going to get a takedown, and in the meantime, Guille coming around the right-hand side is super smart. It's going to surely mean that Clash now are going to seal the deal with a final wall. Chaos is spinning. That is going to be it. Clash are victorious and are the first to go to the grand final.
What a heartbreaking match for XO, but what a victory for Clash as they secure their spot in the grand finals. They will be joined by the winners of our next semi-final. But oh my, this was such an exciting match. For every single set, it just felt like we didn't know who was going to take it.
I mean, like the way that was evolving at the beginning, if we just take ourselves back to how it started, you know, Clash just looked like it was going to be just another month in a monthly final doing what they do best and getting the sweep, especially as we saw this last month, them do exactly that against EXO free agents. But I've got to say, I mean, Clash will take the bragging rights, the passing through into the grand finals, and maybe even today go on to win consecutive monthly finals. But EXO free agents did fantastically well to hang on and hold on as long as they did.
Yeah, they really gave everything into this match. It was almost enough to take the win. It could have been a whole different stories if the sets were in a different order, if they managed to pick up that momentum earlier. But honestly, man, Clash looking like a deadly team once again this month, and honestly holding their title of favorites very proudly.
I mean, if that's anything to go by for the rest of today, you guys are honestly in for such a treat going in to the games to follow. That just had me on the edge of my seat from start to finish. This moment here from Yoshi, so great to keep the game going there. That is honestly 3 saves there and kept EXO free agents in the mix going into that game, but it was that surprise pick from Guille and the tankiness, the double tank heal could have been something which honestly Yoshi there again just to make sure that Curse was going to be able to be in the midst to defend that. I just think that it was a good solid strategy from Clash. Yoshi could maybe, I'm sure there no doubt one shot away from Super. Had he got that, could have been a very, very different story. Look at all that slowdown and damage, and yet still able to sink it.
Yeah, a bit of extra stats here as well. It's really close, man, between Yoshi and Chaos. Notably, a couple more death here on Yoshi on some, sloppier sets across the board for XO. But man, this was such a close match. But we'll be moving on to our second semi-final arc.
Yeah, look at this as well. Chaos there. Pretty neck and neck, actually, in terms of the kill to death ratio, an average of 184 DPS. Pretty similar to the damage taken, but more often than not, exerting more force out in the open. Up next, however, SK Gaming versus Code Magic. Now, Code Magic was a team which we didn't see last month in the monthly finals. I think many were hoping to see how they would fare. They did very, very well last year. If not one of the most consistent teams in the world when it came to points. They were leading the leaderboards for such a long, long time. But, if you're just coming into the stream and you're kind of wondering what you've missed out on, we're going to take a look at the brackets, and Teddy, maybe you can talk us through exactly how things went down today.
Yeah, so far we are in that second semi-final, but to get there, SK Gaming, they had to beat FA Trio. That was a tough one, but they pulled through. Code Magic was a bit more of a convincing win against Master Clappers. Our grand finalists, AC Milan Clash, though, they had a whole different story, beating first One Trick Pony. Sorry, well, no more bracket anymore. But yeah, you guys saw most of it here. It was quite intense. We had some really close matches. Clash does look like they want to repeat some history from last month. We'll see who is going to face them in the grand finals. If it were to be SK Gaming, that would be the same grand finals as last month.
Yeah, absolutely right. It was a 3-1 in favor of Clash. SK got one set, but no more than that. We shall see. They've got to get through this first stage, though, and they've got a big history when it comes to Code Magic as well. Shield was playing on SK Gaming last month and has gone over now to Code Magic to join Sun Bentley as well as Twisty. And Twisty as well started with SK Gaming at the beginning of last year and then moved over to Code Magic. So lots of similarities between these two teams, and definitely everyone's going to be relatively familiar with each other's playstyles.
Yeah, there's a lot of history here between those two teams. They face each other so many times. Obviously, the SK roster has changed up quite a bit since then. But if you look at, Semantic, for example, also a lot of history playing back then for Tribe against Code Magic. Code Magic was just so good across every single monthly qualifier last year, struggling a bit more in the monthly finals to find some closure and some first place wins. They were the team in the end with the most points for the region.
Yeah, they did phenomenally well, and this year, it's still time for them to get off the mark, and they're going to be trying to do that today up against SK Gaming in the first map, which they'll be battling it out on, will be Bot Drop, and of course the game mode will be Siege. It's going to be a much more open affair this time round to start things off, and we saw some quite insane strategies from the EECA region yesterday here. I don't know whether we're quite going to see the kind of bow totem nanny kind of like 8-bit strategy where you just kind of sit back and let your opponents take all the bolts today. But let's see what the bans are in just a moment to see, what we'd like to at least not see any of today. Coming in thick and fast, Stu, no surprises there. Colonel Ruffs, Byron, and Amber. I'm happy with that. How about you?
Yeah, I think these are the standard bans, right? They're not really targeted at any strategy or any comp or any team particularly. They're just the 4 best brawlers in the game right now. And that means that anything else is going to be available for play here coming into the second semifinal. You were talking about that strategy. I think if any team would be to bring it on the table, it would be SK Gaming. They've always surprised us with some very interesting comps. And yeah, I'm hoping maybe to see it once. It did not win them the set, though, in that ECA match you're talking about. So we'll see how impactful that strategy is going to be on Batrop.
If it comes out today, I will eat my hat. I don't know, but the EMEA region is kind of quite, especially not maybe in like the semi-finals. It's quite a challenging time to try something so daring. But we are going to see something much more traditional. Crow on both sides, and Jessie was banned in the last matchup, so great to see her back on the field, and 8-bit as well, giving that maybe that range edge to Co-Magic if they can juke out the shots from Skyrix.
Man, once you have an 8-bit that is already slow in nature, getting slowed down by that Crow gadget, he was just not moving, basically. And yeah, that's going to be a bit tough, especially since he's quite easy to tank down. We'll see how that's all going to work out. Shannon going for the jump onto Sun Bentley, not really going to result in too much except a bit of early damage. So far, first Siege bot was a tie. We are in the preparation phase for the second one.
Just in a very perilous position here as Jetson continues the pressure that's keeping him from banking or even collecting that bolt there. Jetson getting some more shots into a shield. He's just creeping still on his left-hand side, being a bit of a thorn in the SK side here. Semantic launched himself over and seizes the opportunity, but didn't really connect with much. Now a chance to continue that pressure onto a shield. 11 bolts in the pockets of SK Gaming, and that's going to be one mighty push coming in for Co-Magic to defend.
Yeah, level 11 Siege bot, not really that big of a bolt lead coming into the third preparation phase either, so things are looking pretty good for SK Gaming. They find a bit of damage over here, are only 2 bolts behind, and having that Siege bot, they keep control for that also important final Siege bot.
Semantic throwing down the wall there, but wasn't really going to do much. Could have been better to maybe hold on to that shield going in there. Could have easily gone straight on top of his head as Jetson does the same to Sun Bentley, but leaving Semantic alone here is going to have to do a ton of work, but that's one man down.
My God,
Twisty for the pickup. Is he going to get a second shot to Twisty? I think he's going to go into a shield, but somehow no, comes out unscathed and then just pops on his own.
Semantic saved SK Gaming with that absolutely phenomenal individual clutch there. It was an amazing double kill to secure that third Siege bot and give this first game to SK Gaming.
Yeah, solid round for SK, and not the greatest of starts for Co-Magic. Still plenty of time to look back and reflect and learn from some of those mistakes, but very similar ideas from both sides, and that's always an encouraging thing for me to see. Nothing too crazy off the bat, just kind of both teams looking to feel each other out, and they're going to be very, very accustomed to knowing what comps they prefer. But I think this for me is a pretty decent one off the bat. We might see some mix-ups though coming into the next games.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that Sprout on Semantic was so impactful. Look at that play there. Almost picked up the double kill immediately, does find it afterwards. That wall was an interesting placement, but it did work out in the end. Yeah, look at that. 3 kills, 2 of them exactly at the right time for Semantic.
Yeah, absolutely. The kills definitely not going in favor of Code Magic, and there we see the bolts collected by Semantic. Just before, I think he actually looked like he was getting some really aggressive spots. So despite not maybe collecting the most bolts, maybe for his team, but at the same time getting to some really good spots to exert the pressure. I did see Twisty struggling a lot of the time as a result of the place that he was able to get himself in, but definitely for me an MVP on the SK side of things.
Yeah, Semantic is just so strong individually, and I feel like, you know, when you have an SK Gaming that's already so good at teamwork, playing together, that synergy, if they are performing individually, clutching up when they need to, it's just such a threat to face as we get into our second game arc.
Okay, so Mr. P out for Twisty, but already taking heavy fire from Semantic, who's able to get a bit of value as well from that attempts to star power from the bush. Down goes a Porter. Code Magic really starting to try to fight for these early bolts. They've got to really avoid the tires they encountered last time around. Oh, I had to say that. I mean, again, this whole idea of me jinxing everything, it just happens every single time. But I mean, if they get the tire now, they're going to be very cautious to make a decision as to whether they want to keep control and maintain it off this first push, because you know, if SK Gaming can get a look in and bank a couple of these in the next 30 seconds, then they might rule out Code Magic of getting the final push. That would be disastrous for them.
Yeah, Code Magic, they have a lot of bolts here. It's a question of how many leak to SK, if they can maybe find a bit of a lead for Siege Bot number 3, as you were saying, Ark. But so far, they played absolutely amazingly, Code Magic, not giving them any space to work with, not any room to get up close and pick up any bolts. None leaked. Since that first preparation phase, not a single bolt went the way of Code Magic. Scarix, of SK, sorry. Scarix will pick one up now. They're still going to be behind in bolt after level 15 Siege Bot heading their way.
Semantic with a wall, but it's going to actually trap Scarix and Jetson on the wrong side of that wall, forcing him to go to the right. Can he defend this on his own? To an extent, yes, but damage is still trickling down. Semantic forces the gadget to get back into the mix quickly, but as a result, they're going to take on a ton of damage. 65% is no joke. They've got to make that deficit count by collecting some of these bolts.
Yeah, I kind of like that play from SK, to be honest, because if they didn't manage to take back control and get that final Siege Bot, it doesn't matter how much damage there is on their side. The thing is, it's not working out anyways, as Code Magic hold on to control, get the third and final Siege Bot, and tie things up in Siege here. And SK Gaming, there's just nothing they can do anymore.
Yeah, just a much better display of control, and I've got to say that you know, that first push in the last step, Code Magic kind of went against them this time round. Definitely able to keep and maintain control far better, and tying things up and making this a much more close affair.
Yeah, definitely. In the first game, it felt like SK Gaming had much more strength, much more control, even though it kind of went down to some individual performance from Semantic to get that final Siege Bot. Here in game 2, it was just Code Magic dominating all the way through.
Yeah, you see that pinch there on the right-hand side. It was the Crow for Code Magic. I think it was, I'm not sure of the player there, but doing a great job of just deterring SK from getting back into the mix as quickly as possible. It was actually going to be a Shill there doing a great amount of work. Look at the bolts that a Shill's collecting, 14 for his team. One of the great advantages of Pro is the speed, movement speed on the map to get them in the pocket. And 1 kill, 0 deaths. I mean, just showing him and us exactly what he can do, and just bringing a ton of value to Code Magic right now.
Yeah, Code Magic looking much stronger. And if you look at the 2 games, to be honest, SK Gaming, they won the first one because of an individual clutch. They didn't really play better as a team overall in game 1. And in game 2, Code Magic dominating as well. Looking into our 3rd game here, I feel like Code Magic so far, they've had a bit of a stronger set.
Yeah, I mean, they've had yet the chance to really show themselves and what they've been able to bring to the table this year. Not making it to the last monthly final now is their chance to shine. So, being able to adapt and develop and, show each other and, us that they are still just as strong as they were last year this year.
Yeah, they have a lot to prove. They are quite a bit behind in points still compared to that top 5 that is going to make it to Worlds. Last year, they were first from far throughout the entire year, so they got to catch up, man, and making it to the finals would be a very big step in the right direction for them.
Yeah, they're going to want to make their mark this year, and I think like looking at how Clash were playing today, definitely a worthy opponent for them to face if they can get through this stage. But we are all tied up. It can go either way. I think that this next game is going to determine quite a lot going forward as to where those stresses and pressures lie. Whichever team take the lead here are going to have an opportunity to get even further ahead if they can maintain their composure. At the moment, I think it's still too close to call. I would like to see a couple of mix-ups in terms of the brawler comps to keep teams on their toes. Bringing out some Piper maybe could be a bit of a risk, but especially on the defense side of things. But I do tend to think that sometimes if you take a risk, it can pay off in a really fantastic way.
Yeah, I mean, in Brawl Stars, especially with blind picks, you can kind of go for some riskier stuff. Your opponents, they just don't know what's going to be coming. They may have been as prepared as they wanted. There is always going to be surprise elements coming into play. And that's something that I feel like SK has been really good at managing. And look at that. Piper is definitely something new.
It seems that every time I mention something would be a good idea, teams are listening. I don't think on the stream open today. I'm sure they're all knuckling down and keeping very much a composed head. But I do like this. Now, the thing with Piper here against this kind of comp is that they've got to be careful to break the size a little bit, and Semantic is doing that because those little patches of grass will be a great area for Sunbending to be able to get great effect from his star power. Twisty as well, be using his turret to deter the Piper at every turn. So there are some counters here for Co-Match to use. But look at that double takedown from Shattered and Semantic working harmoniously together, and already the damage raining down.
Yeah, that's a really strong start from SK, getting so much damage, keeping control, the bold lead, everything is going their way so far, as Twisty Stoic falls to Semantic, a shield, taking some hits from Skyrix as well, and SK looking like they're gonna get the second siege bot. It's gonna be a higher level one than the previous bot. This could be already enough to close things out in 2 sieges.
It's the really smart thing to do. The Piper pick just coming into such an element. Semantic gets 2 double strikes there, and some Bentley is next to follow, but juking and just keeping his distance. This bot, though, is not going to be doing that. It's going to be coming in straight on top of their icon. Not even a real need to go in too aggressively. I think Semantic can break them in here if he wishes. He might try to break a little off the side, not going to do too much, but look at that. The bot does all the work regardless, and SK victorious in the first set.
Yeah, that was a great pick, man. Piper making the difference. And once again, it feels like Semantic is being so impactful for his team. In game 1, he pretty much won them that game with that 1v2 clutch, but, just slowing them down, picking up some extra bolts. In this third game, he was so strong on that Piper, not taking anything away from his teammates. They played absolutely fantastic as well, but Semantic really shining so far in set 1.
It's one of those brawlers which, in some comps there is just one brawler which everything kind of blends together by using. In this, it is the Piper, and in the double tank, Poco, is the silent victor here. I think for this one, for me, Piper being much more on the out front of things and demonstrating how important it is to get the control to maintain it. If you find yourself on the defensive side, it can go very much the other way. So SK demonstrating so beautifully how they're able to control things from start to finish.
Yeah, and I just want to point out as well the versatility on that team of SK with Skyrix that actually takes the Sprout in game 3, whereas Semantic was playing him earlier. Some teams, they just think like, if we have one player that can play each brawler, it's fine. But here they wanted to bring in Piper. They needed to get off that Sprout, and they're like, okay, what are our options? Skyrix confident on it, very impactful as well, and SK Gaming taking that set home.
Here goes some of the stats as well. Semantic getting 6 kills, 7 bolts, and Sunbending just with the 3 deaths. Nothing really more to say on that side of things. But yeah, I mean, I've got my eye on Semantic going into these next few games. I'm kind of keen to see what else he does to kind of surprise us. It is often the case that the players that can kind of adapt and change with the flow of things. Look at this, 48% team damage. That is like, it's almost like a one-man band.
Yeah, I mean, if it's like this, you need 2 Semantics and you have a team, right? That's almost end already. So yeah, great stuff, man. He's been really strong, whether it was on Sprout, on our Piper, extremely impactful. Let's give a look to our next map and game mode here. We are moving on to Dueling Beetles for Hot Zone. Any comps you're expecting, any brawlers you're expecting to see here, Ark?
Well, Jessie, is still in the cards here, so I think she's a good one to play. Amber, on the other hand, is a ban brawler here, so she would have been a great choice. Her being out the mix, however, is going to mean that a lot of the grassy area is available to Sprout. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some of that, but already off the bat, we're going to see a very different kind of like comp that we tend to see off the mark here. SK going in straight with the range and breaking the map, not hesitating to get everything down. Look at this. And how is a shill and the Jackie for sort of some Bentley for Code Magic going to be able to deal with this one?
Yeah, this is a comp I absolutely love from SK. The reason is, first of all, it's a hard counter to Poco double tank or tanks in general. It's so good at shutting them down. Secondly, it's really good against throwers as well, because once that map is opened up, Barley, they're not really going to be able to do much at all either. So it's just a very versatile comp that is strong against pretty much anything you throw at it.
SK are absolutely bullying Cold Magic right now. There's nothing they can do. This is a pure counter comp wipeout. And, there's absolutely going to be nothing stopping them. They are close quarters versus long range. I mean, you hate to see it. But for SK, I'm sure they are loving this right now.
Yeah, just shows they were ready. They were absolutely ready. Did their homework. Coach Pedro behind the scenes as well, getting all those interesting comps ready with SK Gaming. This roster is just really, really strong, and this is the interesting part, man. This is a free game. This is a free game, SK Gaming. They only need one in this set, and they're moving on to set number 3 with a 2-0 lead. That's a terrific position to be in.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly where SK wants to be, and it's a rough ride for Code Magic. They're going to have to kind of like look ahead here and rethink, and maybe go with something that's a little bit more diverse and able to cover more bases. But look at Semantic still not slowing down. 360 DPS to 69 of a shill, and I mean, what can really a shill do against Colt? Daryl versus Colt, it's only going to go one way.
Yeah, this was just not really winnable. Oh, I'm not sure if this is really correct. With 100% team damage, that would be quite impressive.
If he didn't get, if no one got any damage aside from a shield, it would make perfect sense as being the only person to get anything at all on the board. I mean, and I got to be honest, it looked like Code Magic just couldn't close the gap at any moment in time.
Yeah, it was just not feasible. Physically, just not possible to get up close. It wasn't even like they had any opportunities. It wasn't even like, once in a while they would roll in with a Daryl or get up close. They would be knocked out of that game way before they would even be a millimeter away from hitting a Brawler. They got 0 damage, man.
And that's the risk that you run when you're going to go in with something really outlandish. Triple tank is by far not the call against a team like SK. You got to go with something which can kind of adapt to all eventualities. I think that they really struggled with that. There's nothing worse than being countered by all 3 of your opposition. Whereas if you go with something a bit more varied, we are going to see a bit more range from Code Magic, bringing in Sprout and 8-Bit and Colt. I think is a smarter move by them.
Yeah, I like that. That's going to be a lot more versatile as well, and avoid getting hard countered like they did in the previous game. But so far, it's not really changing the story, as SK Gaming is taking the lead early on with some really solid control.
Even just having a throw in the last game would have gone such a long way, and in terms of being able to get some control, I think that you do have to have that. Great from Semantic again to place that turret, and the shots almost got some Bentley down, forcing out the gadget, the Guardian Mold, to keep him in the mix. As a shield on the right hand side, just looking to heal up a little bit, pops the silver bullets, and doesn't really kind of go for too much there. I'm not sure what he was aiming for, but either way, it's going to be SK Gaming on a pretty decent lead to start things off.
Yeah, this is looking absolutely fantastic for SK, the whole German-speaking team here, versus Code Magic, the French roster. 80% to 0. They might go for a perfect one, or this might be 100 to 0.
Yeah, and if that's the case, then it just goes to show that SK really did feel comfortable going into this matchup on Hot Zone, and there you have it. They are going to continue their pressure upon Code Magic, and this is putting Code Magic in a really tight spot here.
Man, I think in competitive, like in actual, like, you know, tier 1 events, I've never seen 100% to 0 in hot shot. It's so easy usually to just get a couple of percentages left and right. And here, this is as dominant as it gets for a set, man. Code Magic in 2 games, they got like 20% capture time. That's nothing.
Yeah, that's a really rough one. There's the damage that Ashil was able to get there on the roll, and literally that was the highlight there from Code Magic. SK Gaming just looking very, very strong out the gates, and if they continue this on and they do go on to meet Clash in the grand final, I mean, that is going to cause a ton of fireworks. Code Magic not out of the matchup yet, but they've got to really start to pick up their pace here if they're going to keep it with SK. They're just going to get overrun.
Yeah, man, looking at the stats here, you can see Skyrex just so extremely impactful, getting more kills, more DPS than his counterpart Twisty that was running that 8-bit. Yeah, man, I not too much to say. That was just extreme dominance from SK Gaming, and Code Magic just, you know, having to do what they can. I think Code Magic, they just need to calm down, look at, you know, forget about this set and think we need a full reset. We need to come back into set number 3 as strong as we can, because this could be the last one for them in those monthly finals.
Yeah, always a tough position for any team to find themselves in. It becomes ever easier to kind of question yourself and your teammates and what they're kind of doing on the battlefield. Let's have a look now at the next game and map to see what it might bring to help tip the balance. And GG Mortuary then. Heist, again, another long-ranged affair. Hopefully, Code Magic don't bring in Triple Tank here, as that would be disastrous. But, you know, I think there's an opportunity in Heist to some extent to maybe tip the balance if done correctly and calculated. Then this could be an opportunity, but it's still going to take a lot for Code Magic to do something along the lines of what free agents did today. EXO free agents with a fantastic display of how to perform under consistent pressure of match point. But you know, this is looking pretty one-sided so far for me.
Yeah, we haven't seen a whole lot of Code Magic. A little bit in the first set. The second set was... They were just not on the server, man. It was just all SK Gaming absolutely on fire. Coming into this third set, I mean, I'm not expecting anything worse from Code Magic. I think it's only up from this previous set where they were just struggling to find anything. We'll find out if they can make anything work here as Jedon opens up the map. We have some pretty similar comps here, Semantic and Twisty Twig making the difference here as Semantic is running the Colette and Twisty is on the Crow.
Okay, both teams just looking to just feel out their ranges here and stuff, and just kind of like look to earn super as quickly as possible. SK for the first time really being more in defensive position here as Code Magic do get a good footing early on, but very quickly that's starting to turn as SK start to get a bit more pressure. Justin breaking the mid, but not too much. I think more just to kind of like to get something available there for the future. But as soon as he gets super and a good position, I'm sure he'll break much more of that mid. A peep going in from Skyrex to see what happens here. Oh, takedown.
All right, well, fair enough. I don't know if it's better to get the takedown or some damage on save, but seeing that now we have a team wipe, I'm guessing that takedown was quite valuable as Semantic gets those 13% damage from that super. That's going to be pretty much matched, to be honest. Only 6% difference. Not the end of the world, but as we get closer to that final minute for this first game of Heist, Code Magic, they need to start being really, really careful, because any kill, any death is going to be mattering a lot here.
Justin's in a good spot for super. Oh, lasers down. Twisting there as the shill still trying to recover from the last interaction. Semantic continuing the pressure at the same time, and Skyrex keeping lane against Sun Bentley. The damage is in favor of SK, but not by much. There's still plenty of chances as Skyrex goes in and gets the takedown. I do like the way now that I'm seeing Skyrex be quite consistent with going for team kills. It does give a window of opportunity, and there's the return to sender. Not really doing the most amount of things there to a shield. A civil bullet to the face is going to give Code Magic a bit of a chance to breathe on this right-hand side. Skyrex and Jetson forced both hill to hill.
Yeah, this is a good chance for Code Magic. Return to sender does not connect here. We have a TP from Sun Bentley getting 2 tags. That's not enough to give the lead just yet. Maybe a super from a shield would, but he needs to stay alive first for that to happen. That super is great from Semantic, getting that extra value down on save. this is gonna be close, but as Skyrex is melting down that safe, it is, oh my god, only a 13% difference in the end to put SK Gaming at match point. I mean, we've seen EXO with some great comebacks earlier. Can Code Magic do something similar here in this second semi-final? So far, they haven't really shown as many signs of hope for the French team.
It can change at any moment, of course, to be fair, but you know, there's a lot of work to be done that you cannot deny. They can just get through this set, maybe, but you know, this next game really is the decider of whether it's going to go one way or the other. If Comagic can kind of make something happen here, it might give them a bit of momentum to take forwards, and you know, hope is a very you know, a big advantage for a team to have. So you know, it dwindles under these circumstances, but if they can just find it to see again, and maybe some team encouragement on the voice chat side of things to bring this one back, but it's looking bleak, it must be said.
Yeah, it's getting really dangerous for Good Magic. They have their back behind next to the wall. I think that's how the saying goes. Pardon my poor English tonight, but yeah, it's looking more and more dangerous as SK Gaming. They're looking to go all the way up to the finals, maybe a bit of a repeat in history as they were in the finals last month against Clash once again. So everything is still possible, but it's looking very slim here for Code Magic.
Great stats again, still from SK, just continuing to be so consistent this month, and you know, again, far from over, but at the moment, I feel like it is definitely so much they're able to keep going and keeping the pace with. No real comp changes except for Twisty going out with the Piper. I mean, he'll have to hit some shots here out the gate, missing a couple here. Semantic not really seeming to be too worried about that lane. Actually, now changing, the bit of discussion going on with SK as they do seem to feel like Nani is the better counter. It does make sense to me. I think that's a wise decision. Let's see what happens. Will Twisty now start to change over to the right-hand side and have this continue sort of cat and mouse game between them?
Yeah, it's going to be about finding those first kills, or at least a bit of a burst damage for Brawl to fall back and maybe create an opening. Homemade recipe from Twisty does not correct. The regular shots do, though, as Jeden and Skyrex are both low HP. Twisty, once again, homemade recipe not finding any connection, and that's going to cost him his life as Jeden takes him down. A shield with a great kill. That's going to be some nice initial damage early on for Good Magic.
Yeah, it's going straight onto the counter aggressive, and it's going to go for, maybe he was thinking about a kill there on Sun. He goes for Twisty in the end. I think it's probably the better of the three to go for, in my opinion, but to make it count, SK got to advance up. Jetten taking some shots there low, some nice super activity from Semantic on the right hand side as Jetten closes in and gets a nice angle. Twisty can't go past that line of fire, allowing Skyrex to get a ton of value on the far left.
That was some really nice damage. Semantic was super here, not able to really find anything as Skyrex picks up a nice kill on Sun Bentley. The follow-up from Jeden taking down a shield, and Twisty Twig is left low HP to defend. The respawns are coming through, but Semantic finding some really nice value there. Sun Bentley with a perfect shot as soon as he lands, but it is such a massive lead here. Can Code Magic come back? They have to at this point because it's match point for SK.
Yeah, no more chances left now, and a little bit of damage. Still not enough to take the lead off of SK, and Skyrex having peep now is going to force back as Code Magic. If he doesn't go for the kill, he'll surely go for damage. He's coming back around, goes to open things up. I think he wanted to do both, break the wall and take down Twisty there. Couldn't get the value he needed. A chance now for Code Magic. The Sun comes in and shut down so quickly by Semantic.
I really like Jeden going for the super a bit early before the Piper lands because she could just one-shot him, but that's it. SK Gaming take down Code Magic in one of our most one-sided matches today. And yeah, man, SK absolutely blowing our minds here, playing absolutely beautiful Brawl Stars and securing their spot in the Grand Finals arc.
Well, we have got a epic finale planned then for you guys today. AC Milan Clash versus SK Gaming. I mean, who would have thought that coming in today, especially watching how today has unfolded, that we will actually see the same grand final as we saw last month. The rematch is on. What a great story to wrap the day up. Let's take a look back though at some of the highlights from that matchup. For me, SK looking very, very dominant, Teddy, from start to finish.
Yeah, SK, they've been playing so well, man. They are probably, you know, just top 2 in EMEA against Clash. Those teams have been the most consistent in the region. Both teams making it to the grand finals of the monthly finals. That's just so impressive, and doing that consistently 1 month after the other, that's impressive, man. That's absolutely impressive. SK as well was all on new rosters. Those 3 players, they weren't playing together until this year, and seeing how much work they have put in, the results, they've definitely been paying off.
Almost 3 times the damage to the safe from Jeton of SK in comparison to Shill and Code Magic, and just, you know, not able to get into those positions needed to be able to really inflict too much in that respect. And average death in favor actually of Semantic there, and Jeton you know, did a fantastic display of how best to approach Colt in Heist. So much average DPS there as well, 142, as well as the kills being definitely outweighing the deaths is always a good thing to see. I think staying alive in Heist makes a big difference to the outcome.
Yeah, SK just overall more impactful across the board in this match. However, guys, we have our bracket ready here. Let's give it a look. Ark, why don't you run us through that?
Yeah, if you just joined the stream, guys, you missed Tea Drinkers take the loss against EXO Free Agents, and an honestly incredible display that they had going into the semi-finals against AC Milan Clash. Back and forth 6 times the match point, I think you said, Teddy, earlier, and they did eventually take the loss to AC Milan Clash, who will be in our grand finals. AC Milan Clash with a great performance against One Trick Ponies, and SK have been very, very consistent with that win early on against FA Trio, and then again, as we just saw, against Code Magic. So AC Milan Clash versus SK, the grudge match from the last month's monthly final, is on yet again today.
Yeah, man, what a performance from every single team. I'm excited about watching those grand finals, man. I feel like there is so much on the line here. Who is going to be the better team? Is it going to be Clash once again, or is SK able to win this one? Who knows, Ark?
I don't know. Both teams today have been exceptionally well prepared and taking both each other by surprise when it comes to, like, you know, their brawler choices. So much is I'm just getting word. We had a little bit of a moment last month. If you guys tuned in, you saw the trophy has been stolen. I'm being told that we have an update on that situation. Let's head over and see what's going on.
Initiating system. Scan crime scene. Scanning for evidence. Evidence detected. Save evidence files. Shutting down. 3, 2, 1.
Oh man, Ark, I really hope that we can get that trophy back by the end of the year, or we're going to have a very disappointed team. What is up, everyone? It is grand final time. AC Milan Clash up against SK Gaming. Ark, it's a rematch from last month.
I know, right? It's like, you couldn't have written this. It really is like the best story to then present itself yet again. And honestly, you know, on both sides of the brackets, there's some super exciting games. And I think this is going to be a super great way to end the day.
I am so excited to see this. Obviously, I wasn't casting EMEA last month, so I missed out on this incredible final. I'm honored to be with you here, Ark, this time to see if history repeats itself. Will AC Milan Clash take down SK once more, or will SK show that they're not here to get pushed around? We've got Chaos, Guille, and Mr. Lanan up against Semantic, Jeton, and Skyrix. 6 fantastic Brawl Stars players who are about to throw down. Ark, I know you don't like making predictions.
You know me so well.
But I'm going to throw this at you anyway. Do you think we're going to get a repeat of last month?
I mean, this is the thing. Clash today have already gone the rounds, right? They've already had a number of match point scenarios versus free agents XOFA. So for me, like, it's a question of whether that's aided their performance or whether that's going to go against them and hinder them and maybe have worn them down in the process. Either way, I think that we'll probably get a pretty decent indication early on as to which team is going to take the forefront here.
Really, you don't think it's going to be like because between which team was it that played earlier? God, these matches are all mixing into one. It was Code Magic Purple up against it was Clash versus Free Agents that was really close, wasn't it? So
it was Clash versus EXO free agents, the back-to-back match point scenarios. So they've been taking a number of hits today already, but they did end up being victorious. So they were able to continue up against that pressure and take it on the chin well and continue to just prevail here. The last game, SK looked so just comfortable going up against Code Magic, and whether that was because maybe Code Magic having a bit of a bad day, or maybe because SK just really feel like they are at the top of their game and don't really see Clash as being something to really worry about, maybe.
Well, I am personally hoping for another down to the wire match like that first amazing semifinals. Let's take a look at what maps and modes are going to be played for our final match for this region. We're going to kick things off with nuts and bolts with Siege. We're going to move on to Split with Hot Zone, and then finally, well, I say finally, we're going to play some Hot Potato Heist. That's the first 3 games. That's if it's a 3-0. Moving on from there, we could see some Bounty on Canal Ground. We could see some Brawl Ball on Sneaky Fields, but who knows? Either way, this is going to be a match to watch. And now it's the moment. Yeah. Wait, Ruffs isn't banned. No, there's no Ruffs here. Stu has been banned, yes, but Mr. P, Amber, and Byron are the other ones. We might actually see Ruffs in this match.
I think it's a really, really good thing. We haven't really seen too much of him today. So, like, in maps like Split, I think that could be a viable option. Like, having, a good way to break open that middle. Definitely looking ahead of things as being an advantage Hot Potato as well. Even maybe potentially Canal Grande too. Definitely a couple of maps there for me where he's viable. Be keen to see as to whether anyone does bring him in.
That is very exciting indeed. I feel like I've spent all day during these screens complaining about the fact all of the new brawlers have been banned. But no, it's really, Stu, yes, okay, rest in peace. We'll maybe see you next month. But Ruffs, it's cool that we're going to see. I'm looking forward to seeing how that shakes things up. And like you said, in Split, Ruffs can fill very much the same role as Rico, given the similar style of projectile. But here we go, jumping straight into nuts and bolts. We've got Barley, Sprout, and BB. On both sides, it is outright a mirror match. And to start, one bolt collected by SK, and it doesn't look like a second bolt is going to be picked up at all. So first Siege going to SK.
Good start for them. I do like the comps that we're seeing. I think pretty standard. Barley, much better. Great bounce off the wall there from Chaos to get the takedown. That's going to make a big difference to the strength of this push, as SK can't really back it up as much as they would like. A bit of a misplay there potentially from iChaos, as I'm sure he would like to have diverted the bot away from getting that damage, and they might be paying the price there. A pretty hefty amount of damage raining in. 22%, 32% is not really what you want to see in that earlier stage of the game.
No, that is a lot for a level 1 Siege bot. And also vitally, SK Gaming still have control of the map. Look at that, a team wipe. That is 3 bolts banked, 4, that's going to be 5, 6, a level 6 Siege bot coming in, maybe even 7? Yeah, 7 Siege bot coming in, and only 1 bolt collected by AC Milan Clash. This is a disaster for Clash.
Yeah, it really is. Honestly, the final push is the most important one really to obtain here, but with only 1 bolt banked by Clash, they're really not in any way prepared. The lead is still with SK. If they don't push this in 1, they'll have a bolt lead going in. I think they can potentially even go in and finish this right now. That it is going to happen, and a great start for SK Gaming.
Yeah, that was, Clash didn't really put up much of a fight there, unfortunately. That vital team wipe in the middle of the game, meaning that SK were able to get that level. That was the difference between them getting a level 7 Siege bot and potentially actually Clash winning the Siege overall. That 1 wipe was enough. And despite the great Sprout wall, there's just no way that AC Milan Clash could put a stop to all this huge onslaught of brawlers and the big Siege bot. I gotta say, Ark, things are looking good for SK. It's only one game in. I don't want to call it just yet. But based on the result of last month, this wasn't necessarily the start I was expecting.
I think for me, like, if you're going to play Sprout on Siege, you've really got to land those walls on the defense side of things. We saw a couple of slip-ups there on the Clash defensive side of things. Jess, on the other hand, you know, obviously feeling much more comfortable with the Barley pick, getting some bolts. Not the most of that amount of damage, but I'm sure placing a ton of bottles on the map to control the flow of where, you know, Clash are able to go, and you know, getting in those nooks and crannies, so important playing Barley and a map like Siege to control and get those bolts in your favor. Hugely important brawler, and I'm looking forward to seeing much more of Barley going into this year. So I think he's in a really good place for Siege right now.
Barley is fantastic in this sort of mode. I mean, you know, throw him on Heist as well, where you can tick damage to the save over time. But on Siege, with maps like this, with all of those choke points, we're now seeing Jetson continue to play Barley. But this time, AC Milan Clash have switched to is that 3 tanks?
Yeah, for me, I'm not too sure about not having a thrower, to be completely honest. I mean, you know, triple tanks can be hard for you know, SK to deal with here, and they are already getting to a good spot of pressure here, and they can just power their through. They are going for brute force, it must be said. I think that if they can just continue the pressure and get the takedowns, and there's a double takedown between the Jetson there on the left-hand side, it could go in their favor. It also might not if the throwers can start to do their thing and really shut this one down.
This is so tight on either side. Double takedowns all over the shop. It is going to be 6 bolts to 5 at the moment. If Chaos can get away with those 2 bolts, which it looks like he can, we are looking at an AC Milan Clash Siege coming in, it looks like. But anything can happen from here. If one team wins the Siege and then doesn't deal enough damage, the other team's counter Siege could just outright be enough to win the game. This next Siege is going to be important.
Oh, super important. And there's a bolt there from Skyx, giving 8 at least if SK can defend this push for the next round, and 9 from Jetson. Now, that's going to be a big factor here. If they can get a solid defense, only GA really there for pressure right now. Bit of a question mark on my head here. Lananis to roll in and do something here as well in accordance with this bot push. The Sprout Wall, a bit of a miss from Semantic, so some pressure here as Gi and Chaos come in.
Oh my gosh!
But the defense is quick, isn't it? Look at that. Only 64% remaining. A ton of bolts ready for the next round. What a great play there from SK.
I don't even think that it's possible for AC Milan Clash to win this Siege, is it? 10 bolts to 2? Like, even if they get it perfectly, I don't think there's enough time to get the other 8 bolts.
This is why it's so important that if you're going to get a solid big bolt for the second push, that you've got to either go all in and make it count, or, you know, at least look at the bolts for the following round to know where you stand. And right now, a level 11 returning in from SK. Got a nice knockback as well there from, I think it was Skyrex and Semantic putting the pressure onto Chaos. This boy is coming in. Jetson just ready and waiting there.
They can't stop this.
They can't do anything about it,
They
surely.
can't stop this! There's no way. There you go. The damage ticks down. The damage coming in from Barley as well. That is one dead Ike. And SK Gaming takes Siege. That is the first set going to them. Incredible. That was some very strong Siege play.
Yeah, SK looking a very fierce team in this grand final right now. Clash seem off their game. They just don't really kind of seem like they are, you know, making the consistent plays that we're used to seeing from them. There's again, I think it's the miss Sprout Wall again, yeah, on that right hand side from Chaos, and there was one prior to that, I think, on the left. So I think dropping Sprout was wise, but I really feel like if they brought on Barley, they needed to have a thrower to get the control that they needed in those rounds. Brute force is a good thing to have on Siege, but it's never always the best thing when it comes to banking the bolts you need.
Exactly. That's the problem with the first Siege is a tie Siege. The maths always intrigues me of how it's going to check out moving forwards. Do you even want to win the second Siege? How close do you want to get it? Is there ever a situation where you can tie the second Siege and guarantee that you win the third? That's so risky. Either way, SK Gaming had control over that one. That is Siege over and done with. Here's some stats. Chaos really collecting the bolts there with his BB. Skyrex, not quite so much.
Yeah, and it's the bolts that like add up to the bot, which makes you win the game. So that's definitely something which I think Clash have got to consider, because despite having those bolts collected more in their favor, they're just not really able to make the most of those pushes. Skyrex there is, again, as you see, pretty even in terms of the kill to death ratio, but quite a fair amount of average DPS for BB. So I'm kind of impressed by that myself.
Yeah, BB dealing a lot of damage there. Honestly, BB has been coming in clutch all day. We've seen so many good BB plays, and I'm quite impressed generally about how well that brawler is performing. Let's take a look at what's coming up next, though. Arc, I believe we're moving on to Hot Zone next. Yes, it's Hot Zone on Split once more, and this is where we're going to see Ruffs. We've got to see Ruffs, right?
It would be an ideal time to bring him up. I mean, obviously, Rico has the advantage of range over that, and Clash do like to run Rico on the lanes. I think it's kind of a smart thing to do. Chaos feeling far more comfortable with Rico. I think it's fair to say as he was playing Sprout in the previous rounds.
Don't ruin my hopes, Ark. Don't ruin my hopes.
I mean, Colonel Ross has the ability to break the walls, and that's the main thing. Providing going with the right star power. I mean, that's the thing here. We don't tend to see, too much of build promotion. More